Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am the Sipping Tea, and today I'm going to talk to you all about the Cold War NM116 Premium Tank Destroyer. This tank has proven itself to be extremely popular since it first launched. It is an extremely versatile tank destroyer that can be found in Era 1. To start things off, let's have a look at the battle earn rates. So the silver earn rate is an additional 55%, the tank XP earn rate is an additional 20%, and finally the crew XP earn rate is an additional 10%. The penetration values of this gun are 262mm, 320mm, and 45mm. The damage is 280 for both the standard rounds and the premium rounds, and 370 for those rather low penetration high explosive rounds. The rate of fire without any influencing factors on this tank is 9.23 rounds per minute. That makes the reload as standard at 6.5 seconds. Now this of course can be boosted even further with the appropriate crew skills, equipment and consumables. The aim time is 1.9 seconds, and finally the accuracy is 0.31. Gun depression is 10 degrees and gun elevation is 15 degrees, so all in all the gun is extremely good on this tank without a shadow of a doubt. The maximum HP of this tank is 1900 with a vision range of 505 meters and a still concealment of 0.36. The maximum forward speed of this tank is 61.2 km an hour with a top reverse speed of 20.9 km an hour. There is a 12% fire chance for the engine, so it could well be worth your consideration regarding either a fire extinguisher or the appropriate fire management crew skills in order to minimise the risk of you burning. So here I'm going to include on the screen the little sort of cheat sheet of the NM116. This will allow you to see all of the still concealment and vision range statistics as I have them with my current setup. So of course that does mean that those three major influencing factors are going to be affecting these figures. So it's going to be crew skills, equipment and consumables of course. But here you can see that the still concealment, I've got it down as low as 143 meters. The vision range is as far as 537 meters. Maximum speed is largely unchanged of course, in fact it is unchanged. I feel like this tank is already fairly fast as is, and quite honestly this is a build that I've really more geared towards stealth, as you can see by that reasonably low still concealment. Moving on from there, the commander skills that I've got on this tank. So this is a tank that I have in the past played quite a lot, so I do actually have currently a commander that is reasonably well equipped with skills. So this right here is a 7 skill commander, and the skills that I've got on this one are Born Leader, Sixth Sense, Rapid Loading, Muffled Shot, Run and Gun, Steady Aim, and Silent Driving. These additional camo skills really do, I feel, make a fairly significant difference when it comes to playing this tank, as you may notice that I've not got any fire control skills there, and neither do I carry a fire extinguisher on this tank. So the idea is that it's going to stay concealed for as long as possible before getting shot, and hopefully not being shot at all. So that is the strength of the camouflage build for this particular tank. The consumables, I've got a premium repair kit, a standard med kit, and I've got premium smoke as well to boost up that camouflage factor. Something that I feel is very much worth mentioning about the NM116 is that it does have a really good ability to peek and shoot, meaning that if you hide yourself nicely behind an obstacle like a rock or a building, something like that, you can just sort of peek out from around the corner, shoot the enemy and very quickly scuttle back into cover
meaning that you'll hopefully be able to hit the enemy without them returning fire and hitting you. You'll see in the footage that I have been able to do that on a couple of occasions, so yeah, I feel like that is something that is worth highlighting with this tank, as it may well be a playstyle worth adopting.
So now let's take a look at the armor values of the NM116. So you can see here that it doesn't really have much armor to speak of. It is a very lightly armored tank destroyer, which yeah, it behaves in some respects like a light tank, specifically perhaps more like the Bulldog. So let's get on with the armor side of things. So you can see here at 6mm, this is sort of the mud guards, if you will, and I think they are fuel tanks just there, just down above the tracks and by the rear engine deck. So not a lot of armor going on there. 9mm for the underside of the rear part of the hull. 12mm seems to make up the majority of the upper stages of the armor. So the engine deck, the majority of the back and the sides of the turret, and of course the underside of the tank at the front. 19mm of armor is all you get for the rear and the side rear of the tank. 20mm is the track. 25mm is what you can see here to be the majority of the front of the tank. So that's the upper plate, the lower plate, and sort of the left and right sides of the frontal part of the hull, and of course part of the gun mantlet, part of the front of the turret, the very rear of the turret, and the commander's hatch just there as well. 31mm is, as you can see, these two thin little strips on either side of the front of the turret. 35mm is the gun, and finally 38mm is the gun mantlet, the frontal part of the armor, and the turret ring as well. So yes, all in all, the tank is extremely lightly armoured, but then what it doesn't have in armour, it gains in mobility and indeed concealment. So it's, in my opinion, a worthwhile trade-off. It seems to serve the tank reasonably well.
Last but not least, we have the equipment for the NM116. So my setup here is the camo net, ventilation, and the advanced loader. So anything that will boost the camouflage when going through a camouflage build is of course going to be beneficial, and as per usual, anything that can increase the rate of fire will also only prove to be a bonus. So this is the setup that I have for mine. Yeah, as I've said throughout, it really is leaning in to the camouflage build.
I think in conclusion, the NM116 is a tank that is very much worth your attention. Certainly I seem to be focusing mostly on tanks that I enjoy playing, typically anyway. I mean, there will be some exceptions. For instance, last week's WZ111, not my most favourite tank in the world by any measure, but nonetheless it's me continuing on with the sort of the crusade through Cold War for the time being. I think if this tank does go on sale, preferably at a reduction, it is going to be worth picking up. The full price to buy this tank otherwise is I was going to say a fairly lofty 9,000 gold. I mean, that is below my 10,000 gold personal threshold, but I don't know, I feel like for whatever reason this tank should be a little bit cheaper than that. I can't really explain why, because it's a very good tank and it is perhaps worth every last bit of that 9,000 gold, but maybe I'm just greedy and want to have tanks on sale all the time. But that is just about it for this video. I would say please do take a look at the description box below. That's where you'll find my links to various other sort of platforms, so from Twitter and Twitch, and of course Patreon and Coffee. I just want to give a quick shout out to my two patrons. So that is ND Hollywood and Niger898. Thank you both ever so much for your continued support on Patreon. It really does help me massively when it comes to making these videos. If you do fancy supporting me, then please do find those links below. It really does help, and you can pledge from as little as $1 to, well, infinity. You know, whatever you can afford. If you can, then that really does go an awful long way to supporting me creating these videos. I do of course also have the Twitch link down in the description box below, so if you're not already following me on Twitch, then please do follow that link, hit follow. It's completely free to do so, just like it is to subscribe here on YouTube, and you will then be notified when I go live, and that means that you can watch me play tanks live. You can even suggest tanks that I play or anything like that. We can just chill out and have a chat and generally just have a bit of fun. I also run competitions on Twitch as well as here on YouTube, so of course there's another very good reason to follow me on Twitch. So, with that all being said, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.